All right, it looks like our number has plateaued. So as people slowly continue to come in, thank you for joining us. This particular webinar is being recorded. So for anybody who is not able to watch live, we're going to get this posted on YouTube, hopefully in the next couple of days after we get it accessible and get it transcribed. So again, everybody, my name is Jordan Hale. I have the privilege of serving as Director of the Office of New Student and Family Programs here at Duke. And I know you've been welcomed many times, so let me just add to the accolades and happiness of welcoming you to the Duke community. We are really excited about you starting here with us this fall. And we know that a part of that is getting answers to some mission critical questions. What's my housing situation going to be like? How am I paying for college? What is my meal plan going to look like? How do I connect with different things on campus? And how do I get my Dukecard? So we are starting with some experts here from our campus partners who are going to have the answers to all of those questions. And if they don't have the answers here, they're going to find somebody who does, because that's what we do here at Duke. We find solutions to things. Really excited you all are joining us here today. And before we get going, I just want to go through a couple of housekeeping elements. The first is welcome to Zoom webinar. There are a couple of key features about this that are a little bit different than the Zoom meeting. The first is if you have a question, we encourage you to put it in the Q&A box. Putting it in the chat confuses us as panelists because we're monitoring the Q&A box, and you can actually start populating questions now if you have them. But if you have your questions, put them in the Q&A box. We will designate some questions that we will type responses to, and there will also be some questions that we will answer live here, there. And then again, the session is being recorded. I want to turn it over now to our different panelists so they can introduce themselves, and you can go in order as you see yourselves here on the screen. And like one of our panelists suggested, if you have just a couple of notes or tips that you want to give the incoming students and families before we dive into questions, we can go ahead and do that. So I will turn it over to housing assignments and my dear friend, Krista Jones. Krista, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Jordan. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Krista Jones. I'm the Assistant Director for Housing Assignments. The main point that I hope you all walk away from today regarding housing is that the application is due at 11:59 p.m. Eastern on May 31st. So if you've not submitted that housing application yet, please make sure you get to that this weekend and get that taken care of and get that in before the deadline. Again, that's May 31st, which is Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Thanks.
All right, next I'm gonna turn it over to our friends in OIT. I think we got Rodney and John. The floor is yours.
My name is Rodney Kozar. I'm the manager of the OIT Service Desk and Collaborative Services here at Duke OIT. Also the student walk-up desk, which you want to use often. And that kind of leads into my first main thing that I want to let all the students know is that in Perkins Library down in the lower level, we have a technology walk-up desk for all students. Please use that as often as you need to ask any technology question, help with any software, anything like that related to technology. Just please stop by at any time during our hours and ask us any questions. Other quick tip is make sure when you set up your Net ID password, you make sure that it's a good strong password. Also make sure you set up your multi-factor as well. And one important cost saving is please don't buy any software until you have access to our software website. We have a lot of free software on there for students. So please don't buy anything before you check out our software website. Thanks.
And I'm John from the Duke Technology Center. We're a part of Duke University Stores. Our retail location is located on the lower level in the store that's located in the Bryant Center. We sell computers from Apple, Dell, Lenovo, and Microsoft at educational pricing. So we'd like to encourage you to check us out first. And we have a close relationship with the OIT Help Desk to better take care of you while you're purchasing and after purchase of your computer.
Great. Thanks, John. I want to turn it over to our peers in financial aid. David, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Jordan. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad to welcome you to Duke in the fall. And my name's David Wiltshire. I'm part of the financial aid counseling team in the undergraduate financial aid office. We know you have financial aid questions, so we're absolutely here to help. The first tip I would share is get to know our website. So financialaid.duke.edu. Everything I'm going to share today, I know, is already on that website. So we absolutely encourage folks to get to know it. Many of your questions will be answered there. You can also get to know how you can use financial aid throughout your years at Duke. A few additional questions many students have at this stage is, do I have to accept my aid? You can log on to Dukecard when you get access to it to accept your loans if you would like. Your grant aid's already been accepted for you because we know that you want your grant aid. You may also notice that your work study has been accepted for you. This does not mean you have to do work study. You do not have to get a job through work study at any point during your time at Duke if you do not want one. Nothing will happen if you don't. The only reason that if you log on and see that's accepted for you is that our new student employment site requires that to be accepted for you to get access to the student employment site. So we just went ahead and automatically accepted it for everyone to make it easier for folks to access the student employment site. But you're not obligated in any way to do work study if you don't want to, and nothing will happen if you don't. Another question students have at this stage is, if I want additional loans, if I'm looking for plus loans or private loans, when would I start that process? We would say June or July, maybe late June, early July, to start that process, just to make sure that you have everything squared away before the semester starts. And then lastly, if you're interested in a payment plan, if you're interested in spreading your payments out over 4 or 5 different pay periods, we'd encourage you to check out the Bursar's website to learn more about the payment plan.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Going to turn it over to our friends in dining, best dining program in the country. We got Kirsten and Grayson here. Who wants to share?
I'll go first. My name is Grayson and I work in the dining admin department here at Duke. And there is only one dining plan for first year students. So I can go over that in a little bit. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask us while we're here. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. We look forward to seeing you this fall. I'm Kirsten Marinko, and I oversee marketing and communications for Duke Dining. And my main tip is for you to make sure to follow us on social media at Duke Dining to stay connected and tuned in for all of the exciting and fun special events that we are planning for you throughout the next year. And for also just anything Duke Dining related, specials, things that you might need to know. And of course, you can always check out our website. We'll make sure to post everything there as well too. So again, welcome.
Thank you, Kirsten. I work here on East Campus, everyone. That's where my office is, and I have breakfast 3 times a week in the marketplace because I'm a breakfast person and it's great. So I'm a highly big fan of Duke Dining. I'm gonna turn it over to Dukecard and Debbie.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Debbie DiUlia. I'm with the Dukecard office. I have just 2 things I'll share. One is to make sure you've uploaded your Dukecard photo. You can find out, there's a link on our website, dukecard.duke.edu. And once you do that, you will want to go ahead and download your mobile Dukecard before you get to Duke.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. And we have information in the blue book about how that works, and the Dukecard website also has a lot of great information there. So we have some questions that are coming in, and I'm certainly going to get to those. I just wanted to start with a generic question for everyone, and thank you for giving your sort of top tips. But I would love to hear from you all, and we can start with you, Krista, is kind of on the housing team. Like, as students get ready to get started here at Duke, what kind of information do you provide on the website to make that transition easier for them so they can make sure they get everything they need?
Excellent question, Jordan. Thank you. So we have a lot of information on our website regarding the application process itself. But after you've applied and once you receive your housing assignment, we then have a bunch of information about each building that we have on East Campus, each of our residence halls. So you can find out more information about what kind of heating and cooling system might be in the building. Should you expect carpet or wood flooring? How big are the rooms in general for that building? Because many of our buildings are very unique from one another and don't necessarily match one from the next. So we have a lot of information there. We also have tips and tricks on getting to know your roommate, how to ask some of those awkward questions, and how to get to know them so that you all have a successful living experience together, especially when you arrive on move-in day.
Awesome. I want to get a quick question to our OIT friends. I think people underestimate the really cool feature of being able to download like tools and resources on your computer. Can you share one of the best tools that students have downloaded that really makes their Duke experience easier as they get started here, whether it's Acrobat or Photoshop or any of those? I think it'd be cool just for students to know what some of those amenities are.
Probably the Adobe suite is one of the biggest suites that we allow for free to all students. That's probably one of the biggest that we have here for them. Also, as far as access to information on a website, if all the students or parents want to go to oit.duke.edu, and in the search box, if you type in new to Duke, there'll be a section that comes up that allows you to click on students, and that gives you a lot of information just for new students to, when you come into campus, just give you a lot of information, because there's a lot of things out there that you don't know. So just go there, that looks for a lot of information, and will probably put you in the right direction in a lot of places.
So, thank you, Rodney. David, you spent some time talking about your website, but I would love to just hear kind of any additional piece with financial aid that might help us get started.
Sure. So many students, if applying for financial aid was part of your admissions process, you probably already have a relationship with our office. So, you may have, during Blue Devil Days, you may have reached out and made an appointment with a counselor. You may have interacted with us by emailing us at finaid@duke.edu. Most likely, that application process is already largely behind you for your first year. But you're still welcome. If you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You are absolutely still welcome to make a virtual appointment. We would be happy to talk with you or your parents if you have additional questions. I think that main piece that students at this stage are looking at as they get closer to that first semester is making sure that they know how they're going to fund it. If they're looking for financing, if they're looking for loans, I'm kind of putting those pieces together on what loans they're going to be looking for and what the best loans are for them. And so for that, I would say absolutely check out our website. Under types of aid, we have a whole section devoted to loans, so you can learn more about what the best loans would be for your situation.
Great. Keep the questions coming in. I did want to give dining an opportunity to, one of the things that's cool about dining, in addition to the good food, is they do a lot of special random programs. So Kirsten, I know you're here representing the marketing side. Do you want to highlight some of the really cool first year programs that you all do in the marketplace for incoming students?
Yeah, of course. So we try to do one large scale. I don't want to say we try to. It's been a little different just with the pandemic. So we are moving back in the direction of offering one large scale themed dinner each month while during the academic year that's different than the current cuisine that we offer at Marketplace. So it's just, they're basically created to educate and encourage students to try new things while having a good time and, creating and fostering that sense of community amongst each other. So we typically do those once a month. We also offer tabling events where you can come up to our table that we have set up where you can ask questions about anything really, but typically we'll have a point of focus for some of those more targeted questions, including a new allergen program that Grayson just started this past year called the Ask Me Allergen program. And you can find more information about that on our site too. And then we do things like chats with our chefs, where we will have one of the Marketplace chefs offer out front and center a tasting of maybe something new or something that maybe is currently offered. It's always a surprise, but it's also focused around a monthly topic too. So, and we do offer sustainability events and things like our reusable container program, which you can find out more about once here, and it is on our site as well, and our reusable coffee mug program that you can where you can take your own mug or a Duke dining mug and get 20% off of your fountain drink or drip coffee. So lots of good stuff.
Great. And then Debbie, we have the physical Duke cards and the mobile Duke cards. I would love for you to take a little bit of time talking about that as our students get ready to come, because that's a bit of a shift and it's really exciting to know for you and your team and for us. So.
Sure, thanks. All first years will receive a physical card when they come, but you can also download the Duke card onto your phone. Either it works on Android and Apple, so there's instructions off our website on how to do that. As long as your picture has been submitted, you will be able to do that. And then you just can go to any door, any reader for eating or buying things at the Duke stores and tap your phone or your Apple Watch. So it's very convenient not to have to remember your card or take it out. It will work on your phone or your watch. Also for your dorm rooms and some of your dorm rooms and your dorm doors to get into your dorms.
Thank you, Debbie. All right, I'm going to jump into some of these questions here. So the first one is for our friends in housing assignments. Krista, this is for you. If a student has a medical situation, can he get a single room? Or do you need a letter from the doctor in order to do that?
Excellent question. So first, single rooms are assigned randomly based upon students who have submitted a preference for a single room on their application. So if there are students, sorry, I was reading something else. If there are students who feel as though they have a medical need for a single room, then we encourage you to work directly through the Student Disability and Access Office to see if you might be eligible for a housing accommodation. That could be for a single room, that could be for a certain type of air conditioning, that could be for no carpeted rooms, etc. There's a wide array of housing accommodations that students can receive if they have a medical need. Once you work through the Student Disability and Access Office, and I'll put their website link in the chat here in a moment. Once you work with their office, if you do receive an accommodation, they notify us directly. And if it is for a single room, then we will assign you to a single room based upon that accommodation.
Awesome. Thank you, Krista. Next question is international students. This one's for you, David. International students who do not have work study in their aid do work study over the year?
Sure, that's a great question. So it has to do with whether the student checked that financial aid interest box when they were originally applying for Duke. So for international students, in order to be eligible for financial aid while they're at Duke, they have to check that box while they're going through the admissions process. And unfortunately, if they don't, they wouldn't be eligible for financial aid at any time while they're at Duke. I will say, though, that sometimes there are misunderstandings about what constitutes an international student. So if you are, let's say, living internationally, but you're a US citizen, or you used to live internationally, but now are a US permanent resident, if you are a US citizen or a US permanent resident, or if you are an undocumented student living in the United States, you would have access to some forms of financial aid, even if you didn't apply during the admissions process. So if you have questions about your specific situation, I'd encourage you to reach out to our main office at FINAID, FINAID@duke.edu. That's our main email address.
Awesome. Thank you, David. And there's another quick question of financial aid that came in our chat feature, and it's about, can you appeal your decision? I want to know if you could take a little bit of time to talk through that as well.
Sure. That's a question we get a lot. So I'll start by saying that when we create a financial aid offer, we have taken all of the information that you shared with us. Because that information is often 2 years old, sometimes it's not reflective of a family's current financial circumstances. So if there's additional information that you didn't share with us in your financial aid application, for example, maybe a parent had a loss of a job in 2021, or maybe you are now supporting a grandparent, or have other financial obligations that our office doesn't currently know about. If that type of situation applies to you, then absolutely we would welcome you to reach out and submit an appeal so that we could consider it and see whether you'd be eligible for any additional aid. In terms of the process for that, again, sending you to our website. So if you go to our website, financialaid.duke.edu, under Forms and Resources, you'll find a page called Appeals. And that appeals page will walk you through the types of appeals we can consider, and then also the process for submitting an appeal.
Great. Thanks, David. I did see a question come in that I want to touch on. It's an orientation question. I never really get to answer questions on these things. I normally facilitate, so I'm excited to answer this one. So we are shifting our orientation model this year. We're really excited about having incoming students participate in experiential orientation programs as kind of a cohort model. And the question is, are first year orientation programs first come, first serve? And the answer is no. You just have to complete your application by June 10th. And then we are working with your responses to your questions, the ranking of your programs to make sure that you are placed in a program that you will be excited about. All of the different offerings, all 18 of them, are going to be amazing. And we've been working with campus partners and student leaders really for the last 9 months to make this happen. And so we're really excited about that. So thank you for asking. And we are excited about that. But no, it is not first come, first serve. Just get it done by June 10th and we will get you placed appropriately. There's a question from Sophia about students getting access to the Adobe suite. So I don't know, Rodney or John, if you all want to jump on that one. And then do you just log in with your Duke email, or about how do you get access to it?
Yeah, once you get your net ID and password and you go to the software website, you can download the information for there and it'll give you step-by-steps of how to log in and get access to the Adobe stuff once you get your net ID and password.
Great. Thank you, Rodney. Are there paid jobs or research opportunities on campus for students who are not on financial aid? So I guess this one could come to you, David, again. Is that something that students can take advantage of?
Sure. So there are on-campus jobs that don't require a student to be on work study. I'd encourage you to visit the student employment site. The jobs there will be they'll be categorized, whether the job requires a student to be on work study or not. But most of the jobs, I will say, tend to encourage that, but there are a few that don't require that. And then, of course, off-campus jobs, students would be welcome to find off-campus jobs that don't, students who aren't eligible for work study.
Awesome.
I have job availability at the link for anybody that likes to work with technology or just want to learn more about technology. We do employ students at the walk-up desk. You don't have to have any prior experience, or you don't have to know a whole lot about technology. Just if you just want to work at the desk, and if you're interested in learning some new things, just want to be around some cool stuff, then you can come by either the link desk and talk with one of the staff members, or just go to the website, the Duke or the new website, and then apply from there.
And I'll quickly chime in that we hire students at the Duke Technology Center at Duke stores also. And it's a retail environment where you're dealing with brand new things all the time. And if you like interacting with people, it's a pretty enjoyable job.
All right, getting people employed. That's great. It's not the purpose of the webinar, but I'm glad it's happening. That's good. You all should be happy you attended, or those who are watching the recording. That's really good, a good perk of being here. So there's another question that has come in about a type of parent events that are planned for the first year drop off for students. And so I will say that our team is working diligently around parent and family orientation. This year, a lot is going to be offered virtually. And so we are sending out a parent family newsletter, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And we try to do that once a month here over the summer. That will give details and information about the virtual sessions that we'll have just like this for parents and families, that detail things around Pratt, Trinity, so our two different colleges that incoming students participate in, one that'll go through health and wellness resources, one that'll talk about Duke Durham history. So we have kind of a slate of programs there. And then we are welcoming families on our move-in day on August 20th, and we're working on finishing up some programming for that day, which we're really excited about. And then after that program ends on the 20th, we encourage you all to say your goodbyes and to get ready to allow us to work with your student. And we are excited about that. We've been working and waiting all year for this. And so there will be some programming on that August 20th here on campus. And then we will transition to the experiential orientation program. So next question. What information do parents have access to once their students granted? This person asked about, will they have access to their grades? I actually don't know the answer to this. I feel like I should, but does anybody here know the information parents will have access to once they grant it to students?
So once the student gets here and they're in their first semester, the student can log into Duke Hub and they can grant access to grades and schedule, I think is the two things they can do access to. So they'll need, the student actually has to initiate that. If the student doesn't initiate, then you won't be able to get access to those items, but the student can do that if they want to.
Thank you so much for stepping in there, Rodney. I appreciate that. David, you marked one that you wanted to answer live, so I'll ask it. The student wants to know, where would they check to decline or accept their work study, and by when should they do that?
Yes, absolutely. And before I forget, though, to tag on to the previous question, students can also grant parents or whoever access to their bills and their financial aid information. So students should look into proxy access or guest access. That can be a really helpful tool in just making sure that parents have all that financial information that they need if parents are the ones who are paying any tuition bill. But yes, the question about work study, we know so many students have this. Where do we need to go to accept or decline our work study? When would we need to do that? Starting this year, that has automatically been accepted for you. There's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to log in and check if you're interested in doing work study. Again, this does not obligate you to do work study. So if you don't want to do work study, you absolutely do not have to. If you don't, nothing will happen. Literally nothing will happen. If you don't want to do work study, that's perfectly fine. But if you are interested in doing it, you don't need to log in anywhere and tell us that you're interested in doing that. You can just log on to the student employment site and start searching for and applying to jobs.
Thank you, David. If a student were to get an off-campus job and needed a vehicle, what do the logistics look like for bringing a car to campus? Does anybody know this? I have some thoughts, but okay. I don't know if you're going to say something, Ronnie. Yep. So you can bring a car to Duke. Parking is limited, like it is on any college campus. And parking directly on East Campus, where all first-year students live, it's just incredibly tight and incredibly rare. Most incoming first-year students have to park at Smith Warehouse, which is across the street from East Campus. If you do need to get off campus, there's a variety of ways you can do that, whether it's using our free city transportation or doing bicycles or anything like that. So the answer is yes, you can bring a car, and our team in Parking and Transportation has information on their website on how you can look to get a parking pass. But just know that a lot of first-year students end up not bringing a car because there's so many ways to get around Duke. I do understand that the sort of piece of the off-campus job, which is a different element, but a lot of incoming first years do not bring their cars to campus. So see here about some of these other questions. Here's a good one. When should I start applying for jobs or research positions? Anybody want to take that one?
Essentially, folks are able to apply for jobs, really as soon as they, if they're looking for work study jobs, really as soon as they have that work study in their financial aid offer, which students would at this point if they're thinking of coming for the fall. I think aside from that, my answer would have to do with timing in terms of when jobs would be posted. So it wouldn't hurt to start looking now if you want to start, getting your feet wet on the student employment site, but just keeping in mind that most likely more jobs will post as the summer, gets closer to August.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Do a lot of first-year students end up bringing bicycles? Some do. The university used to have a free bike rental program that we no longer offer because of all the scooters and different ways that you can get around. But we have bike racks all over campus. We have interactive maps that show you where the bike racks are. So I highly recommend bringing a bike if you're interested in it. Bring a good U-lock so you can lock up your wheel and your frame. The number one theft here on campus is honestly things related to bicycles and people leaving their doors unlocked in their rooms. So you bring a good lock and get your bike locked up. I think it's a really good way to kind of get around in an efficient way to get around campus. So, and quite a few students do that. All right, keep the questions coming in. I see that some are being answered and typed in. There is a question in here about Duke supporting around taxes during tax season. I don't know if that happens. It might be a resource our team in financial aid does. I know we also have a team that does some financial literacy work, but I don't know specifically if Duke does anything. Does anybody here know that?
I think there are a few free tax help services. I think they're organized through the law school. But if you Google, like Duke free tax help, there are some resources there. The financial aid counseling team, unfortunately, can't help students with taxes. We're not allowed to professionally. You're right that we do have the Personal Finance at Duke is kind of a sister office to us, and they offer financial literacy resources. So, if students have questions about tax issues or that type of thing, they would be kind of helpful general resource to help students get pointed in the right direction. But I think if students are looking for free resources, kind of the resources offered by the law school might be the best bet.
Great. Thank you, David. Good. Thank you for that information. We have some questions coming in, which is great, but I did want to give John Shaw the floor and the opportunity to talk about kind of computer security. So John Shaw, I didn't know if you had any information that might be beneficial for incoming students around computer security and how to protect themselves digitally and that kind of thing. That'd be great to share with us now.
All right, thanks. Thanks for having me, and welcome to everyone. Yeah, I'm John Shaw with the University IT Security Office, and I guess a couple of things to recommend is one, to echo Rodney Cozart's recommendation earlier about setting up a secure password on your account. And one thing that we recommend is to never share that password with anyone. And to the point that was brought up earlier about the proxy access, it is possible for you to grant a proxy access to your accounts, but it's recommended to go through that method rather than sharing your NetID account password. So please be sure not to share that password with anyone. And regarding passwords, Duke does provide a service. It's called 1Password that allows you to securely store your passwords. So it allows you to generate randomly a new password for each account, not just Duke account, but any personal accounts that you may have, so that you can have a unique secure password for each account. And speaking of securing your accounts, Duke also offers a unique service called Duke Unlock, which is a wonderful service. It allows you to register a compatible device that you have with Duke, and allows you to authenticate to Duke services that support Duke Unlock without having to enter in your password or using that multi-factor authentication mechanism that Rodney Cozart mentioned earlier in the call. So just those are a couple tips that we would recommend to secure your accounts and protect yourself while you're here at Duke. And I invite everyone, if you have questions for us, while the OIT service desk, as Rodney mentioned, is a wealth of knowledge and great to work with, you can also email our team directly at security@Duke. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, John. I just want to give a quick word out. There is an attendee who has raised their hand, and we don't have the ability to kind of take you off mic or make you a panelist. So if you have a specific question, go ahead and put it in the Q&A for us, and we'll make sure to answer it. I just wanted to acknowledge that, because the person does have their hand raised, and we're not ignoring you. We just don't have the ability to bring you in so that you can chat live with us. Good. All right. So questions are continuing to come in. And so a question has come in about, as Duke students, will we have access to a free password manager? And I don't know if that's a tool or resource that we use, but I feel like our friends in OIT would know.
John, you want to take that time to talk about 1Password?
Yeah, sorry, I was just stumbling to get to the mute. Yes, great question. The free password manager. So Duke offers for Duke faculty, staff, and students a free password manager. It's called 1Password. So you can visit our security website, security.duke.edu, and you can search for 1Password on there, and we'll get a link in the chat. You can also, I believe, go through the OIT software site and get more information on 1Password. And with 1Password for students, you're going to be eligible for the free personal account, which offers you 1Password families, which will grant you the ability to have up to 5 accounts, so that gives you the ability for you and 4 others to have your own unique account secured with a secure password. It'll allow you to store your passwords, as well as allow you to share passwords across accounts. So great question, and we encourage you to use that. And if you have any other questions, please, again, reach out to our security teams or the OIT service desk with any questions. We're happy to help you out.
You. There's a question for our friends in dining. So what if a student doesn't end up using all the points on their dining plan? Will they carry forward, and can they use them on something else?
So food points in your dining plan, they will carry over from the fall semester to the spring, but at the end of the spring term, which is the end of the academic term, your food points are forfeited. There are, I think, roughly 880 food points that the first year students will get on their account for each semester, and when you come in the fall, and one food point equals $1. So I think it's about a $9 a day for like a daily average. And we do have a food point usage chart tool that will be your friend, and you'll be able to kind of track your spending to help guide you so you don't overspend or so you don't underspend. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Grayson. To provide a little bit of clarity around move-in pieces, right? So move-in day is going to be Saturday, August 20th for our incoming first-year students. You know, we also have students who are incoming who are international students, and so having just one move-in day can be a challenge. So for our incoming international students, we are working with campus partners to allow move-in as early as August 18th for those students, but for everyone else, move-in day will be August 20th. And our move-in time slots vary, right? So there's usually time slots that start at 8 in the morning. So depending on when your time slot is, you may want to come the evening before if you're able to do so. I don't want to assume every family can come and spend the night the evening before, right? But if you do have an early move-in time slot, it could be beneficial just to come the evening before. And you will get that information on your move-in time slot sometime in mid-July. Our peers in housing assignments do a great job to make sure all that stuff is teed up and ready for you. So we will leave that up to you as you get ready to travel, but there are move-in slots throughout the day from 8 to 10, typically from 10 to 12, from 12 to 2, and from 2 to 4. That may change slightly this year, but we do typically have a morning move-in time slot. So depending on when your time slot is, you may want to come a little bit earlier. All right, we got another question. It says, will the housing, I guess it's supposed to be like the housing application, be available for questions in the summer? I'm not sure what housing D part is, but do you see that question, Krista? Yeah, you know what they might be talking about?
So maybe you're asking about hours for our office. Our office is open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5, all during the summer, with the exception of some of the summer holidays. But outside of that, yes, we're available. You're welcome to email us at housing@duke.edu. That's the best way to contact us. And we're usually, depending on the time period, able to respond within 1 business day to your inquiry.
It's supposed to be housing department. Great job, Krista. Strong work. Yeah, keep the questions coming in. We will kind of hang out here for a couple minutes. All right. Is it possible to purchase a laptop through Duke Online before people arrive in August? John, you want to take that one?
Yes, it's very, very important more than ever for students to reserve their computer as early as possible. The worldwide supply chain crisis is real, and it continues to get worse. Apple, Dell, Lenovo, Microsoft are all affected by it. And the sooner you put in a reservation on our website, the more likely it is that you'll get a computer in time for when classes start. The brochure online looks something like that. And this is the Apple page for it, but we have a page for Lenovo, Dell, and Microsoft. And I answered a question earlier and put the website to go to. It's www.dukestores.duke.edu/Blue Devil Delivery. And when you go to Blue Devil Delivery, you'll see the links to the flyer for the computers. And while you're there, I'm going to go a little further in answering another question. There's other links to like the micro fridge program. If you can rent the microwave refrigerator combination, and it'll be in your room if you do the program. And then also the laundry program plus other programs that's offered through Duke Stores.
Thank you, John. All right, so there's a question here that's being responded to, but it might be one that's good also to answer live, Kristen. It's about the housing assignment information. If you can just share that about kind of what you're, just so everybody can hear it, that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. So housing assignments will be emailed to your Duke email account, only your Duke email account. So make sure you're checking it on June 15th. In that email, you'll see your building, your room assignment. If you've been assigned to a single room or a double room, if you've been assigned to a double room, you will also receive the preferred first name, last name, and Duke email account of your roommate. So first you'll get their Duke email account, and then after that, whatever forms of communication you all decide to share amongst one another, you certainly can, but we will only share a Duke email account.
Thank you, Krista. And this is just a good professional tip as you get ready to start. Checking your Duke email is the best place to get information now from the institution. It's where we're going to be emailing you, looking to connect with you and contact with you. You can certainly set something up to potentially forward to another email, but checking your Duke email is just, it's something that should be happening now as often as you can, just so you can make sure to get updates. Our office sends an email weekly with the top 5 things you need to know for that week around dates and deadlines. So we try to make sure that you don't miss anything. We also try to provide a resource in there so that you can, kind of get a glimpse of campus before you come here, whether that's about recreational services or it's about our Do Well space. So checking your email is a really good start, and making sure it's your Duke email as we get ready to get started here at Duke. There is a question about Pratt students using Macs or PCs. We will have a webinar specifically for Pratt registration on June 2nd. So that team might be able to answer it then, but I don't know if anybody has an answer to that now. Maybe you do, Rodney?
You can use either one. If you are not opposed to using a Windows PC, it's probably going to be the best for you in the long run. If you do use a Mac, you will have to dual boot it, which means you just split your hard drive inside and in some type of variation, and you use Mac on one side and Windows on the other side. And there are some programs that you will have to download that will only work on a Windows operating system. So if you don't want to have to worry about going back and forth between a Mac OS and a Windows OS, then you may want to think about looking at some of the Windows options. I know John at the computer store has some really good deals on some Windows options for some good high-powered machines, so you don't get bogged down. But if I was you, I would look very, very hard at the Windows machines.
Perfect. Another quick question came in related to our OIT services team. Are there costs associated with using printers on campus?
There is a free allocation that you get. It's $32 of fake money, kinda. And the only reason they put a money cost on there is just to keep track of the spending that you are using, just so that you just don't go and try to, print hundreds of pages at one time. So there is a cost. There's the free cost of black and white printing. So you don't need a separate printer in your room. They have these, what we call e-print stations all across campus.
Awesome. Thank you, Rodney. I see a question here about access to the gyms, and is it free for students or other rec services? Whenever you go into a gym, you do not pay each time you go in. You just, you swipe your card and you have access, but you do pay a rec fee. And so because you pay that fee as a part of your tuition here at Duke, as a part of your student bill, you have access to the classes, to the spaces on both East and West Campus. So that's that answer there. So there's a question about, I guess, size of storage on the computers. This attendee is saying that they notice most computers are 512 gigabytes. Can it be upgraded to a terabyte in terms of storage, I'm guessing?
For the Macintosh, it is possible for us to order a configuration with 1 terabyte. I would caution, because of the shortages out there, is that we would only probably want to get you something that's a standard configuration from Apple. Customized machines, when they are built, it goes all the way back to China, where they're customized there and then shipped here. So there could be some significant delays if the machine you choose is customized too much.
Thank you, John.
And on the PCs, it's just the 512s that we're offering this year, and we don't offer 1 terabyte on the PCs.
There's another quick question. You might have already touched on this, John, but is there a grant or discounts for buying Macs or PCs? If you can just hit that again for us, that'd be great.
Their education prices on the laptops we sell. But another thing to add is there's the student payment plan that is offered. It can be used one time while you're in school. And it involves putting, I believe, 20% down. And then the remainder that you owe is spread out over semester payments for as long as you're in college. And there is a low interest rate that's charged, and we work with the Bursar's office for that. And you can get more information on that payment plan either on our store's website.
All right. So we're coming close to time here. We do have a handful of minutes left. Just because I'm a math person, I'm keeping count. We've answered about 65 questions in about 45 minutes. So you all should be proud. That's pretty impressive. And thank you all for sending them in because they continue to come. So what are some of the services, such as like newspaper subscriptions, that the Duke emails offer students for discount? Does anybody know anything about that? Like some of the services that are provided because they have a Duke email? I know one is the newspaper piece. So because you are a Duke student, and we actually do have some flyers from the Wall Street Journal that we'll provide for you when you start, you do have access to the Wall Street Journal, and we work with them to provide that. So I know that that's one, but I don't know if anybody else knows anymore. I saw you came off mic, Rodney.
No, I don't know anything.
Oh, sorry, man. So we have a micro fridge question. Oh, go ahead, Josh. Go ahead, John. My bad.
Hey, thanks, Jordan. Just to throw in just an additional suggestion there, when registering for accounts that are not specific to Duke, but if you are registering for those accounts using your Duke email address, again, the recommendation is to create a unique password for each service. I see Rodney smiling, so I don't know if that's related, but that one password service that was mentioned earlier, which allows you to securely store passwords, it also offers a generate a secure password feature, which can allow you to easily generate a new password for each service that you're registering. So I would just recommend being mindful of that, right? Each service that you create, whether it's Duke or non-Duke, let's have a unique password that prevents password reuse and makes it to where bad actors out there trying to do bad things with your accounts can't get in. But thanks, Jordan, for letting me throw that out there.
No problem. No problem. All right. So the last few questions are slowly trickling in. I did want to kind of go around and give each office just the opportunity to say one more thing or item they wanted to make sure that they shared with incoming students. And as questions come in, we'll certainly respond to those. But we're going to go reverse order this time. So Debbie, we're going to start with you as we get ready to wrap up. What's one final thing you want to make sure incoming students are ready for?
I think just the things I've said before, make sure you get your picture in. That will be the most important thing so that we can have your card ready for you when you get here. That will also allow you to download your mobile Duke card before you get here. So just go to our website that's been posted in the chat, dukecard.duke.edu, and get your picture uploaded as soon as you can.
Great. Debbie, a question came in about the due date for the Duke card. I feel like I should know this because
We have not set that yet, I don't think. So that will be on the website. I would say by July would be great.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you. All right. And then Duke Dining, I saw Grayson.
Thanks for joining us today, and congratulations again on being accepted into Duke. One last thing about dining, I would say, is to get the most out of your marketplace swipes. You get 14 swipes per week, and that covers breakfast and dinner Monday through Friday, and brunch and dinner on Saturday and Sunday. Additionally, if you have any dietary concerns, any food allergies, or any other nutritional questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and you can email us at dining@duke.edu. Thank you.
Thank you, Grayson. David, your turn.
Yeah, so one thing we haven't mentioned yet is health insurance. So if you're listening, if you're on financial aid, there's nothing you need to do right now. But in August, be on the lookout for information about health insurance. If you're on financial aid, and let's say I guess whether you have your own health insurance or whether you don't, if you're looking to get the Duke health insurance and you want financial aid to pay for it, there's a process you have to go through. Again, nothing you need to do right now, but just keep on your email, especially in August. You'll get some more instructions then about how to get financial aid to pay for your health insurance if you already currently have financial aid.
All right, OIT.
I guess for me, the biggest thing is that for all students, if you have any questions technology wise, just please come by the link and use us. We're there for you. So please come by and utilize us. Come see what we got. We also rent out equipment for you as well, at no charge as long as you bring it back or don't damage it. So just please come by, take a walk by the desk and see what we offer.
And I'd like to encourage, even if you are not buying a computer, is to please come by and check out the Duke Technology Center in the lower level of Duke stores. You'll be surprised with all the different things we carry besides computers that are technology oriented. I think you'll be quite pleased.
So thank you, John. And then housing assignments, Krista.
Hello, thank you again. Application is due May 31st. If you also want to make any changes to your housing application, those changes can be submitted anytime, but wherever the final state of that application is at 11:59 p.m. Eastern on May 31st is what we will be using when processing your assignment. And the other thing I'll share is that then the exciting day of June 15th is when you will find out your housing assignment, roommate information if you've been assigned to a double room, and all of that fun stuff will be coming your way on June 15th.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. One last question came in on our Chatter Glab. It's about, and it's something we haven't talked about, but a loaner program for iPads and computers. John, or Rodney, do we have that? I feel like we might, but I'm not sure.
Well, you could answer that question two different ways. If you buy a computer from Duke stores and it needs service and you're going to be without your computer, we have put in a pool of loaner computers at the OIT help desk. So you turn it in there to get repaired. They will issue a loaner so you're not without a computer while your computer is being repaired. Now, as far as you want to rent a computer, I don't believe we offer that. We don't offer the service at the store, and Rodney might have to answer the question a little bit further on that.
We don't offer renting of laptops or iPads at the link is also. We do have a couple iPads that we do rent out, but of course it's nothing like having your machine. And like John said, we do take in the computers that you do buy at the computer store and issue you a loaner with all that applications on it that you would need to use while your machine is being repaired. So you just simply drop your machine off with us. We send it off, get it repaired. Once your machine comes back, you bring the loaner back to us. We give you your machine. We wipe the machine that you have and give you your machine back. So you don't have to worry about, if you don't have a car or anything like that or transportation, how to get to the Apple Store, Best Buy, or whatever you need to get your machine repaired.
Great. We will continue to have summer transition series. That question just came in the chat, so it's a perfect segue to the different webinars and things that we are going to be hosting. So we're going to have one on June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, where we're going to go through our academic pieces. We're going to talk about Trinity Registration, Pratt Registration. We're going to have a pre-health advising. It's our first session. We're going to have a second pre-health session, but it's going to be the exact same content with the exact same presenters. We're just going to offer it twice. And then later in June, we're going to have one about staying well in your first year. So that's when our immunizations team, our student health team, and the folks from our wellness center are going to be present to share those resources. So you can register for these on our Blue Book website and get additional information there. And those sessions will also be recorded and posted online. So, all right. Thank you all so much for joining. We are really excited to see all of you this fall. Thank you so much to our panelists. I'm going to give you kudos like this. You know, I can't give you hugs because you're at a distance, but I really appreciate all that y'all do for us and for the institution. So, and yes, the presentation will be posted on YouTube when we get it done. So thank you all so much and have a great rest of your days.